Okay, let's have a look at the switch statement. To get a decent example out of the switch statement, we will use this function and method date get day. This is exactly the example on W3 schools, but let's try to get a handle over it. So just like we defined variable students the other day, variable students new array. So student was an array. We can have a variable day, which is a new date, and is going to use the get day method. Try to see what it does. Okay. When I say alert day, now day is a variable, that's why no quotes. When I alert it out and run this code, it alerts out 5. And 5 doesn't really make sense to us, but the problem is JavaScript holds days as numbers with 0 as a Sunday, 1 a Monday, 2 a Tuesday, and so on. So now this is where our switch statement comes into play. So I can, instead of saying if day double equals to 0, and that's a comparison, I'm comparing whatever is in day with 0, unlike this equal to sign, which is assigning, and I will repeat this again. It's very important to know this equal to sign is not a comparison operator. This double equal to sign is a comparison operator, just like this is, if not equal to, or if not day equal to 0. But this is an assignment and this is a comparison. So if day equal to 0, I can say alert I'll leave it, I'll just say alert Sunday, and so on. So if it's equal to 0, I'll alert a Sunday. If it's equal to 1, or in this case I'll just do 5, alert a Friday. I'm keeping my code a bit compact just so that you can see the difference. And if I go back to Firefox and try to run this, okay, let me run this. If alert day, okay, take this day off. If day is 0, alert Sunday. If day is equal to 5, alert Friday. There is an error, so let me just go to Tools, Error Console, and see if I can find debugger console. Friday is not defined. Okay, so yeah, sure, these have to be strings because these are not variables. So let's see, and it's good to have these errors. So now it says Friday. So it took the 5, converted it to a Friday. But you can see how many several if statements I would require here. So there's a easier way. You still write a fair bit of code, but not so many if statements or not so many nested ifs. And this works only for assignments. Think of a switch like an old fan regulator switch that can only point in one direction, or your switch that can be turned around and it can point only in a fixed direction. So we can say switch. In this case, our switch is the day, which is pointing in different directions. Like any other block, it has a beginning and an end. I'll just put my brackets together. Beginning and an end. Switch of day. And we can say case of 0. In case day is 0, alert Sunday. and 0 to 6 because that is 7 starting from 0, just like arrays start from 0, day starts from 0, months also start from 0. So if I was to say month and get month here, the month would also start from 0 to 11, but date it actually, if I say get date, the actual date, it would pick up the date, and we'll see the date and year in a moment. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, actually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll change this to document.write because I want to show you something else. Put a space here. I'm going to take the document.write. So I've got this happening here. Now let's see. It went and picked up Friday, but then it also went to Saturday. You see? And if today was actually a Sunday, it would have picked up Sunday, but then it would have gone on to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now it said case is not 0, case is not 1, case is not 2, case is not 3, case is not 4, case is 5. And we saw that when we alerted it, it was giving 5 because today is Friday. When we alert this variable day, it gives out 5. So it does this, but then it goes on to do this line as well. And for that reason, we must break out once a case is satisfied. And this is one of those few occasions when you have to use a break. So you have to break out of that block of statements. And now if I run it, you can see it says 5 Friday and it breaks out. Okay, cool. So this is a good structure of a case statement. You should know how to write and read a switch statement, also known as a case statement. And there we have this. Let us have a bit of a play with this as well. Now since you know that day captures, get day will capture the day in numbers, and the numbers we are outputting as a day, let's do something else. So let's also get the date and get date, and let's also get the year. So we can put out a proper date. Now I was just looking up the year bit a while ago, and you probably saw that on my browser there. JavaScript, they start recording years as from 1900, like just we have a calendar that has got starting from 0, and then we have AD and Domini, and then we have BC, before Christ. For JavaScript, 1900 is the year when everything started. So if I have to alert things like Sunday, and then I say date plus a space plus year. Now to the year I need to add 1900 because only then will it give me 2014, otherwise it will give me 114 because it has been recording years from the year 1900. So apparently that is what I need. And we'll see in a second if that's right. And I'm just going to save this and I'll refresh it. So it says Friday 25 year 2014. But the important thing here is the switch statement. I was just having a play with the new date because you are already introduced to new array, so you have some more methods, and then you have had a look at array.length and stuff. So date and get day, get date, get year. There is also get month, but then you would then need to convert month into you can try it, get the month, then use a case statement to convert the value starting from 0 to 11, convert the value to month, and try changing this to Friday 25 April 2014. Okay, so there you go, that's your switch statement. I want to do something else in this video before I close it. We want to have a look at some of the operators, and there are a few things that you should know about operators. I did emphasize earlier on that the equal to sign is not the same as uh, the double equal to sign. So let's just look at a few simple operators. I'm going to save this and I'm going to make a new file. Now, bear in mind, I've just cut away all the other code just so that the script looks clean. Technically, you need type equal to JavaScript. Though most browsers, the modern browsers, if you don't define the type, they assume it's JavaScript, and I've left out a lot of HTML code. Okay, going on to operators. Very important, and just we'll use a simple if statement. If um, let's just have a variable name equals 3. So and because that's a string, that has to be in quotes. By the way, even in the case statement, I use numbers, but you can actually have quotes. You can have case of quotes, and you can have a variable value. So case of name, delete, case of name, John, and so on. But continuing on from here, so you can say if name equals delete, and you can have comparison operator just like we saw before. If name equals to delete, you can do something. I'll just say right. You can also have a case of variable num is equal to 25, okay? And then you can say things like, I'm just going to copy this block here. You can have things like if num greater than 50. Okay, so you can have these kind of operators. There's a quote here. So if num greater than 50. You can have things like if num greater than or equal to 50. You can have things like if num less than or equal to 50. Okay, so I'm just going to put all the operators here in a comment. So you have greater than, greater than, greater than or equal to, no space in between, less than or equal to, and then you have not equal to. Yep. Or you can, that is also written as not of num equal to 5. So there are two different ways of writing that, but it's an operator. Is it equal to, is it not equal to, is it greater than, is it less than? So these are all comparison operators that will result in a true or false. So anything inside a bracket is going to evaluate into a true or false. For example, let me alert out here. Let me just alert out here, alert, just to show you what it is holding. Alert num, I'm just going to alert this. So I get it true because num is less than or equal to 50. If I say num greater than 50, I'm going to close this. I get a false. So you see, this comparison, it always evaluates to a true or false, and programs are controlled by these conditions. If something is true, then do something. If something is false, do something, or keep doing something as long as something is true. You know, while something is true, keep doing something. So in your loops as well, you use it. So that's comparison operator. You do need to know for your exam mathematical operators. So I'm just going to go down here, and let's have a number variable. I'm just going to use num1 is equal to. Of course, you can take user input, and by now you know how to use the prompt statement. But I'm just going to hard code some values. So let's say num1 is equal to 20 is equal to 10. Now you should know what num1 plus num2 is, and that's easy. Most of you know that, and let us keep alerting out these things. Num1 plus num2. Because it's a mathematical operator, it will actually try to parse it, and here I don't need to parse it because I've hard coded a value. So I'm just going to alert num1 plus num2. So that's 30, and this do something is coming because of these two lines here. Okay, so that was a false there, and 30. Actually, I'll just comment out this one for now, and I might comment these two out just so that my code is clean. 30, good. You know what the negative is, and be careful about the negative, because if I say num2 minus num1, I will get a negative. Cool. Multiply them. 200. Very cool. Let's divide them. 0.5, or because I divide the other way around, I was expecting a 2, but to get a 2 I should say num1 divided by num2. Num1 divided by num2. 2. Now you gotta be careful here. You can't divide by 0. So you need to have an if statement. Whenever you use a division, you actually really have to say if. You need to have if num2 not equal to 0, or if you prefer not num2 equal to 0, then you divide. You need to have that, but let me try anyway. What happens if you set that to 0? What happens? What does the computer give you? So I'm going to set this to 0 and infinity. There you go. It's actually undefined. There's a big argument about whether it's infinity or whether it's undefined. Infinity is fine, and you probably have heard about it. What happens is when you divide a number, so when you let's say when you divide by 10, okay, it's 2, right? When I make this number smaller, 5, see, the number has gone from 2 to 4. If I make this number 2, so you can see what's happening is as I make this number smaller, the result is getting bigger. Let me make it 0.5. See that? Let me make it 0.05. 400. 0.005. I'm just getting into mathematics here, but just trying to show you why it's infinity. Basically, when the denominator keeps getting smaller and smaller, infinitely smaller, the numerator keeps getting infinitely larger. And that's why when you say 0, he says, oh, that's so small that is so small that it goes to infinity. So we have division. Now modulus is the tricky one. Let's get into modulus. And this one is important. You will often see quite often questions on modulus. Modulus, what does modulus do? Let's see. Modulus is supposed to give you the remainder after dividing num1 by num2. So 0, no remainder. Okay. So if this is 21, if this is 21, 1 is the remainder. If it is 30, then of course it is divisible and no remainder. But if it's 29, then 9 is the remainder. Pretty much whatever you're dividing by, if you're dividing by 10, then 0 to 9, you will have remainders from 0 to 9. Let's say this one is smaller. If this is 5 and you're trying to divide by 10, this one will be interesting. 5. Okay? Because 10 zeros are 0 plus 5. So it goes into 5 zeros times and the remainder is 5. So it is a bit tricky. If num1 is small and num2 is big and you're trying to divide and get the remainder, then that is the remainder. Whatever you see, the smaller number is the remainder. So when you're trying to divide a smaller number with a larger number, the smaller number is the remainder. But yeah, if I go 52, then pretty straightforward. 2 is the remainder. Okay, so that's an important thing that you all need to know. So we did some comparison operators. You must know your comparison operators. You must know your mathematical operators. And in the next video, we'll do loops. We'll do all the loops. I'll do just 2 examples of each loop, and we'll keep one whole video of loops separate.